Hi everyone, another week, another makeup and chat. So today I wanted to talk about a topic that has been an issue for me my entire life. It's taking things personally and being very sensitive. People have always told me that I'm a very sensitive person and that I care too much and I take myself too seriously and that I make things about myself and I take them too personally. And in reality, most things that people do aren't because of me. And a lot of the time when people hurt me and do things that upset me, I immediately assume they are doing it because of me and there's something wrong with me. But the truth is that people don't ever think of others when they do things. They don't think of how others will feel. They don't think about what their actions will make you feel. They're always acting out of what they want and what they want to get out of a situation. If somebody says something hurtful to you, you gotta think about what reason would they have to hurt me? What do they get out of hurting me? You shouldn't immediately jump to the conclusion, is there something wrong with me? No, it's very, very often not that. Because when someone does something to hurt you, it becomes really hard to think that it's not about you. When someone does something that hurts you, it's usually with an ulterior motive in mind, and it's usually not because there's something that's actually wrong with you. It's because there's something that they haven't dealt with internally. They're projecting their traumas onto you. They're projecting their insecurities into you. And that's unfortunately just the way of life. So my whole life, I've been a really sensitive person. And I had to realize after a lot of heartache and hurt feelings that not everything is about me. The guy honking at me on the street because he was impatient, the person who unfollowed me, who unsubscribed to me, people saying hurtful things to me. For example, you're not funny, you're annoying, you're too confident, people commenting on your weight, people basically just saying hurtful things to make you feel like you are not worthy. Almost none of those things, although they're directly directed towards me, are about me. They're not about you. When people say these things, when they try to hurt you intentionally, go out of their way to say something hurtful, to do something towards you to show you that they don't like you, it really is not about you. And while that sounds kind of rude and like, what do you mean that nothing is about me? Surely something that people are doing is about me because people are thinking about me when they're doing those things. Well, yes and no. They are trying to hurt you. They do want to affect you, but it's not because there's something wrong with you. It's because something about you bothers them. And it could be a reflection of something that they don't like about themselves. Or they could just be having a bad day and projecting that onto you and finding ways to, spread negativity. Because sometimes when you have a bad day, or you just, are bothered by small things, you act in ways towards other people that you don't even notice yourself. You're spreading your negativity to other people, likely without really meaning to hurt them, but you're hurting them, doing things that are negatively impacting them and their mood. People aren't thinking about others when they do things. They just think about what they're doing, how they're upset, and how their day isn't great, and how they have been wronged by other people and how life is unfair and how they just wish life was different. So they're just gonna go around angry and grumpy and ruining everyone else's day without a second thought about how it's affecting others because they are too busy consumed with their own misery. The reason why I'm trying to express to you that nothing is really about you is because telling yourself other people's actions are about you and that you did something wrong and that there's something wrong with you that you need to fix and change, that's gonna cause you to think there is something wrong with you, and that's gonna give other people the power to control how you feel about yourself, which is a very dangerous game to be playing. So the alternative to that is realizing that, in all honesty, when people do hurtful things, it mostly has nothing to do with you. It's a projection of their insecurities, of their bad day, of their personal life experiences that were negative. They're just projecting onto you. they may not be intentionally trying to spread their misery, but they can't help it. Everybody's had those bad days where they just can't even seem to be happy about anything for anybody, towards anyone else. They just want to isolate themselves and have their bad day, you know. But life isn't that easy. You can't just not go to work. You can't just not go out because you don't want to, because you're having a bad day. You have your responsibilities. You have to work. You have to see through your plans. You have to do your errands. And because of that, I'm not trying to make excuses for people who treat other people poorly, but it's important to understand where these people and their negativity comes from so you can take things less personally. And although it's even been hard for me to really apply and understand in my life that other people's hurtful actions aren't a direct reflection of me, I'm slowly gentle parenting myself, I guess, if you can call it that. I'm gentle parenting myself into realizing that it's not about me. You know, when my ex said those hurtful things to me and wanted to hurt me and said the most awful, vile things I've ever heard, and he made me believe that all those things that I was scared were true were actually true. And what I realized is they're not true. I'm not all those negative things he said about me. He was just saying them to hurt me because he was hurt. And I forgive him for that, because people do things that they don't mean when they're hurt, and they hurt other people when they are hurt. So you know that phrase, hurt people hurt people. That's why you have to be self-aware and heal your inner trauma and be aware of the actions you're doing when you're in a bad mood, because no one deserves to take the brunt end of your bad mood. It's not fair. Everybody goes through hard things. The worst thing you can do is hurt other people because you were hurt. So that's something I've been kind of trying to apply to my own life, which isn't easy. I know it's not easy. That's part of the process though, you know, like learning and realizing, maturing. You can't take out your negative experiences and bad days on other people because it's just not fair. In an ideal world, no one would hurt other people as a result of their own bad day or unfulfilling lives, but that's almost always what it is when people have unhappy or hard lives, bad days. They carry their hate and unhappiness around with them. And I'm sure all of you have experienced it as well. It filters into every interaction and every thought you have. And all those interactions you have with other people, you might hurt them in the process, even if they've never done anything to you in their entire life. And that's why it's so important to learn how to let go and release negative emotions, because they don't serve you, they don't serve others. You're just hurting other people, and you're also honestly hurting yourself in the process, because you're gonna hurt people you care about, and you're gonna become a person that you don't want to be. Nobody wants to be known as this negative person that drags everyone else's life down and ruins the mood every time they get invited. And nobody wants to be around that person. You don't even want to be around that person. So why would you want to become that person? So it's really important to be very self-aware. You might think, okay, so what if this person is actually directly mad at me for something I did? And I just don't know what it is. Shouldn't I, try to fix it, reach out, ask them what I did? Well, if someone is personally upset with you about something and they're acting passive aggressive towards you, it's honestly on them. And I know I probably sound like a hypocrite because I've been passive aggressive towards people in my life for like most of my life, really. When I'm upset with them, I don't really tell them. I just try to wait for them to figure it out, but it never happened, People can't figure stuff out when you don't communicate it to them directly. And the lesson here is, if they don't communicate it, then it's not your responsibility to do anything about it. If they're gonna act passive aggressively and waste their time acting like a little toddler, banging their fists around but not really saying what upset them, well, just let them do that, because we're all fully grown adults, fully grown people. Nobody's responsible for another person's feelings or actions. If they're not expressed directly, I'm not responsible for figuring out. I'm not a detective. I don't get paid to sit around and think about how you feel and your actions towards me. If I hurt you, and I care about you, if you tell me, I will do something about it. If I don't care about you and you're gonna come and complain to me about how something I said hurt your feelings, unfortunately, I just don't have the time or energy to deal with that. I think what we need to realize is how important and valuable our time is, and that we just can't give away our energy to just anybody. You deserve to reserve your energy for people who are worth your energy, who are worth your time, who you decide is worthy of being in your life and adds to your life and isn't hurting you and dragging you down constantly. As fully grown individuals, fully grown adults with functioning brains, a problem can only be dealt with if it's made known. If I'm not aware and made known of a problem, I'm not going to be spending my energy sitting in my room ruminating for days, weeks, months about why someone's mad at me. If you're not going to tell me, if I don't tell you, I'm not going to expect you to know. I'm not going to expect you to fix your behavior, your hurtful things that you're saying, this hurtful action that you're constantly doing towards me. I'm not going to expect somebody to realize that they're hurting me with their actions if I never communicate it to them. That's a new thing I'm implementing into my life. I haven't been like that my whole life, but I started realizing that I can't make everyone happy. And if they don't express what made them unhappy, then I can't do anything about it. And I'm not gonna sit around and spend hours ruminating and analyzing a situation over and over just because you decided to treat me poorly. Like, speak up where it's not an issue. I spent my whole life being so empathetic and understanding towards others, careful of their feelings, putting their feelings and opinions before my own. Even if they didn't express it, I'd be spending like hours ruminating and thinking, oh, they treated me slightly weird today. Their tone changed towards me. Oh, it must be because of something I did. It must be my fault. I need to figure this out and fix it. And then I'd be like super clingy and desperate and over explaining myself and trying to justify myself and my actions and say like, oh, like I care about you, whatever. I'm never meant to like upset you with anything. Like, what am I doing? What was I doing? What was I doing? I was just doing too much, you know. I was letting people think that their feelings were more important than mine, that their opinions and their everything was. I made people think that I didn't deserve to have an opinion because I was so busy catering towards theirs. So that when I did have an opinion, it was like, oh, like, why you changed now? Like, why did you change? Why did you suddenly have like so many opinions? And why are you such a party pooper? Like, why are you so restrictive? Why aren't you like you were before? They got used to you putting their interests first, their opinions, what they wanted. I remember at the end of my last relationship, I started developing my own interests, my own opinions, and I would express that a lot more, be a lot more open, because I thought if this is gonna work, I might as well show that, you know, I have interests that are important to me too. I'm gonna put myself first sometimes too. And that killed the relationship quite literally, like, because I changed from how I was in the beginning, putting him first always, letting him choose always, letting him say what we were going to go spend our time doing, like his favorite interests, all that stuff. And what I realized through this experience is that people aren't going to go out of their way to watch out for your best interest and your needs and feelings, so you shouldn't do that for other people. You need to put yourself first, and you can still be an empathetic and caring person. You can put other people's, like, you can consider other people's needs, which is what would happen in a good relationship, a healthy relationship. But the point is that you still always need to consider your own and put that at the forefront while also considering other people's. That would be your strength in being able to consider other people's needs, but now you'll also be able to consider yours at the same time. And you know, a relationship is about compromise. Sometimes you guys won't have the same interests, the same feelings. Sometimes you'll do something that hurts the other person, they'll do something that hurts you. And the most important part of all this is communicating and never lowering your expectations. Like, both of you should compromise to meet each other at their level of need. And if that isn't happening, it's just a relationship that's not gonna work. If only one person is always caring about the other person's interests and feelings and the other person's caring about yours, it's done, it's over. It's never gonna work. No matter how much you guys say you love each other, it's not a balanced relationship. Another reason why you shouldn't take things people say and do so personally is because it makes you feel like you're not good enough. You're going to internalize those insults that people give to you, the criticism, and just believe it for what it is and not actually focus on how you feel about yourself, because you're focusing on how other people feel about you and making that about you. Like my ex, I made his actions that hurt me about me. I rationalized my pain to try to fix the issues, and I realized that I was trying to change myself so that he wouldn't say hurtful things to me. And I didn't just see those hurtful things that he said as hurtful things that he was using to hurt me. I believed those hurtful insults and criticism that he gave to me, but that was never true. Those insults and actions were a projection of his personal insecurities and his internal issues with himself, and he projected them onto me. So he would call me fat, he called me unattractive, he called me poorly mannered, poorly postured, and that I was embarrassing when I went out with him. And I was never any of those things. I know I'm not those things now. Now that I spent time with myself, I know myself, I know I was never any of those things that he said. That was just his opinion, and his opinion was a projection of his own insecurities of himself. Those are all the things that he struggled with. He was fat. He was, at one time, he felt he was unattractive. He was all those things that he was trying to say that I was, but I wasn't. And I was watching this podcast by a girl called Fleeksy, and she was talking about how this is called negging, technically, where a guy insults you and tries to bring you down to his level when he knows that you wouldn't be with him if you knew your value and your worth. So that's kind of what was happening. He would drag down my self-esteem and make me feel bad about myself so that I would feel like I was on his level. I loved him no matter what. I loved all his flaws. I loved everything about him. But in order to make sure that I never felt like I was too good for him, he would drag me down. He would hurt me. He would say those things. He would make sure that I was never feeling on top of the world or great about myself, because he wanted to make sure that he could control me still. But the truth is, I would have never saw him as less than me. He just felt less than me, and that's why he did those things to me. Honestly, it's depressing. I know people say it's not all men, but it's a lot of men are like that. And it really hurts. People don't think about the impact that words can have on people, especially if they're not fully confident in themselves and have strong self-esteem and self-love. Getting into these bad relationships with people that purposely try to drag you down to keep you feeling inferior to them and feeling like if you left them you would never find anyone better than them, and that they're the best you'll ever have and they're the best person that you'll ever find because they're all these great things and you're all these negative things and all these things are wrong with you. It makes you realize just how manipulative some people are when it comes to romance and love, and people will do anything to keep someone. And yeah, it was a really hard experience for me. And another thing I noticed was that a lot of men approached me right after my breakup, and I didn't know why. At first I felt oh, this is kind of flattering. Oh, imagine if my ex saw me right now and so many men are approaching me and they're seeing my value and my worth and they want to get with me and all these things. And what I realized was men can sense vulnerability. Men can sense sadness, and when a girl is the most vulnerable, they're literally like predators on the hunt for prey. And you know how it is, predators will look for the weakest prey because that maximizes their chances of getting a kill. I feel like men can just sense low self-esteem and vulnerability because they always catch you in the worst moments, right? Now that I'm all healed and feeling way better about myself and actually very confident, ever since then, 0 men have approached me. 0. Right after my breakup, like within the first month, 3. Just on the street. And that's never happened to me. And at first, yeah, I did think it was a compliment. But then, I don't know if you guys have heard of this theory that men love to prey on vulnerable women with low self-esteem because those women are easiest to manipulate. And I mean, this is just proof. It's okay. I totally went on a tangent with that, but my point is that I realized that by taking things really personally, I was neglecting myself, because what you're really doing is just trying to be kind and understanding towards others, like rationalize why they would act that way. But you shouldn't put yourself at the center of it. You should be thinking about, and if you're going to be empathetic, you should think about the fact that maybe they're having a hard day and just let it go. You know, don't start a fight with someone on the street because they decided to, they decided to give you road rage. You know, they decided to yell at you, honk at you on the street. Don't make it about you, because it's gonna hurt you and it's gonna affect your self-esteem. And what I realized is most people that take things way too personally is a person who always puts others' needs in front of their own. And they're always dedicating their life to serving others and reading other people's needs and wants and feelings. So they're assuming that other people are doing the same for them. You know, that their actions towards them are a direct reflection of how they feel about them. But that's not it. And the most important lesson here to all you empathetic people is that you need to be empathetic towards yourself. You need to be at least a little bit more empathetic towards yourself than you are towards others, because no one's going to put your needs in front of their own. And that's why it's important for you to be your number one supporter, because you are going to be in your life forever. That's the only relationship that's guaranteed to stay with you for the rest of your life. So put yourself first, because putting others first is going to leave you feeling unhappy, it's going to leave you feeling unappreciated, and it's going to leave you taking everything that other people do personally. So please, girls, boys, women, men, let's all stop doing this together. Let's all stop taking other people's actions and words towards you so personally. Because if you're sure of yourself, if you love yourself, if you know everything that is great about you, all you have to offer, your value, your worth, have self-esteem, you're not going to let someone's negative comment about you, not about you, hurt you. You're just going to know your worth and just say, okay, it's okay if you feel that way about me, because I don't feel that way about me. And I know I'm great, and I know I'm a nice person, and I know I'm beautiful, and I know I'm worth love. I know I'm worthy of the best. So if you want to honk at me, if you want to unfollow me, if you want to tell me that I'm ugly, that my videos aren't interesting, that I'm stupid, go ahead, because it's okay. I love myself, and that's what matters. So everybody, make sure you give yourself some love and empathy. Okay, since it's the end of the video, I want to let you guys in on all my shopping that I did this week. I was also feeling kind of iffy this week. I was having trouble taking things personally, and that's why I decided to make this video to kind of share how I've been dealing with it. But anyways, the retail therapy helps too. I bought this sweater from Uniqlo because it's end of season, and it's a real wool sweater. It was only $15. Amazing. I bought a ton of other stuff. I bought another shirt. Then I got a ton of stuff from Sephora, and I got a bunch of lip balms that I will be testing out for you guys sometime this week. I don't know when, another video. But I wanted to do Aquaphor because I've been hearing about it so much. Test out like that for hydration. Then I got this NYX butter gloss in the shade Creme Brulee. Excited to try that. And then I got this Laneige lip kit balm. I want to try out all the different colors and flavors. And then I got this Laneige full-sized gummy bear scented lip tint. Smells so good. It smells like a grape candy. That's why I bought it, because I couldn't resist. Then I got these free samples for buying it as well. And then, one more thing. I bought all these books from a book sale. All of this costed $6, by the way. $6. It's insane. Now I'm gonna go chill in bed and wash off this makeup later because I'm not going anywhere. Thanks guys so much for watching this video. Like and subscribe if you want to see more. And remember, stop taking things so personally and love yourself. Thanks. Bye guys.